Lighter music started playing, and the couple spread out across the hall, forming groups of different sizes, starting conversations with each other, some occupying the tables with food and drinks. Thank you for the dance. That was an interesting experience. You're very welcome. I suddenly started darting around, as if she felt uncomfortable in my presence. Sorry, Nick, I need to take off for a bit. Unfortunately, I have my own obligations at this Vanity Fair. Yeah, of course. See you later. She smiled and approached a group of young women. I was left alone, surrounded by perfect strangers who didn't care one bit about me. I immediately grew anxious, my heart started beating faster, and I began to sweat. So what was I supposed to do? My eyes darted across the hall in search of Natalia. She was casually talking with other guests and probably wasn't watching me. Of course, I could always tell Ellie everything and hope for Kobayashi-Jun's protection. He probably wouldn't be happy, but there's still a chance that he'd help. Otherwise, he would have dealt with me like Irina had with Kagome. But the mere thought of this all-powerful man made me tremble inside. I had no reason to trust Irina either, but at least she was Russian. She was one of my people. Even though I didn't always agree with the motivation behind her actions, I could still understand them. What did Ellie's grandfather want? Money, power, and even more money? Most importantly, what kind of protection could he provide? Would he bring me to a remote Japanese village and have me live in a dilapidated hut with Kagemaru? With a well a kilometer away, no decent heating in the winter, and of course no bathroom? Didn't sound like an attractive prospect. On the other hand, if I were Irina, I'd get rid of the unnecessary witness once I had the photos. All her talk about patriotism applied only to the domain of ideals, not individual people. We strive for the betterment of the country as a whole, for the prosperity of the people. If a small part of the people suffer because of that, it's an acceptable loss. And most crucially, Irina had never even much tried to hide the fact that those were her morals. I wasn't one to compare socialism and capitalism, but at the moment I felt like I'd been thrust into the middle of their struggle. And real people with real feelings were willing to choke each other to death for the sake of those ideas. Tiger or dragon, which should I trust? Once when I was little, I heard a fairy tale about how these two creatures didn't get along with each other. In that tale, the solution was discovered fairly quickly, to connect the tails of the dragon and the tiger so that they'd be forced to find mutual understanding. But in reality, the symbiosis of two separate political and economic systems didn't seem much like a good idea to me. And it wasn't easy to tell which one was which at a glance. But returning from the abstract to the concrete, I still had to make a choice between the tiger and the dragon. Huh. Shit. Shit. I feel like Kobayashi is not one to be trusted. The big man, alright? I feel like even Ellie has some doubts about it. Like, obviously she bears some resentment towards him because he's like restricting her from, really pursuing her dream with rock and roll. But I also feel like completing Irina's mission is mad fucking dangerous. But I feel like if you went to Kobayashi about the shit that's going on, he'd fuck you over mad quick. Both of them are really only in it for their own selfish interest. They don't give a fuck about Nikolai one way or the other. I think the one thing that has been ever present in all of these routes is that you don't trust Kobayashi. You don't trust that guy, not one fucking bit. You don't put any faith in that dude. The moment you show him any kind of leeway, you get fucked. I don't think there's ever been any fucking reason to trust that man. Not one. Like, Ito, he's coming clutch at an occasion, so I can't completely discredit him. Even Cheryl had her moment during Catherine's route, where she was, showed some kind of fucking humanity. Big man Jun, I don't think that's there. So as intense of a choice as this is, I'm not gonna leave this one up to the fates. I think I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the right answer is to complete Irina's mission. I think that's where we go. I've saved, of course, in case I severely fuck it up, but I think in the long run, this may cause a rift between Ellie and Nikolai initially, but I think in the long run, I think it's for the best. But also, Irina's offering, that is another point, is like, Irina's whole offer is to get him out of the USSR, right? I mean, get him to the USSR. But that's not really his end goal, right? Now when it comes to Ellie, if we think about just the route with Ellie, that's not really the end goal we want, right? We're not trying to get Ellie out of the country. Ellie doesn't want to leave the country, right? She wants to pursue her music. But I don't think going to Big Man June about this is the right answer either. I don't think that benefits Ellie. I think this is a very tough decision, trying to decide which one's the right one. You'd think going to Kobayashi is like, oh, go to Kobayashi because she's also Kobayashi, so Kobayashi, right choice. I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe we'll see once I click this, but I think that attempting to complete Irina's mission is the right call. I feel like that's the move. Alright? The choice is just to complete the mission. There's no say that... That's not saying that we will do it, but to move forward with it. I think that's the right move. I think that is the correct choice. I think it's a very tough call. Because once again, like, the other option was like going to Ellie and telling her everything. Ellie doesn't want this dumped on her, right? Especially not here of all places. God, this is a tough one. This really is a tough one, because then, but if you go to Kobayashi, you're saying that you show some trust to her and her family, and she'd appreciate that. Because, like, even if she does bear some resentment towards her grandfather, she doesn't hate the guy, right? Because, like, whenever in any of the other routes, when you accuse him of something, she gets really defensive and be like, what? How dare you accuse my family of that? Who the fuck do you think you are? Fuck you. It's actually a lot more of a difficult decision the more I think about it. But I think I just have such an aversion to Big Man June that I can't pick that option. Even if it does seem like potentially the right answer, I can't pick that one. Not right away. That can't be my first choice. I think that man has proven time and time and again that you don't put your trust in him. That even if, you know, Irina's a sneaky little bitch as well, she's at least proven in the past that she's willing to assist in some capacity. That she's not a total asshole that'll just leave you high and dry. It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. But I think, ultimately, I gotta go with the mission. No. Irina was more dangerous. I think it's less the sense of who's more dangerous, and more so in which one could I place more trust in. And I'd place much more trust in Irina over June. Alright? I would. I think you shouldn't like truly trust either of them. But if I had to pick one or the other, Irina or Big Man Kobayashi, I'm going Irina. By refusing, I risked not making it to tomorrow, but if I succeeded, there was a chance she'd keep her word. All I had to do was not get caught. I'd learned the plan of the house by heart, but was still extremely nervous. Was it the second room on the left or the third? Second or third? There was almost no one on the stairs and balconies. I found the right moment and walked quickly up to the second floor without looking back. The corridor seemed endless. Paintings by Western artists hung on the walls, and a luxurious carpet covered the floor. Under different circumstances, I've been surprised by the by the deliberate absence of anything Japanese. But my only purpose at this moment was to fulfill the mission. I slowly opened the door leading to Kobayashi Jun's office, and it squeaked treacherously. Thank God nobody heard that. There was a spacious room behind the door with a huge oak table at the window and bookcases along the walls. I dashed to the table, randomly opened several drawers, and went through the papers inside. First, it seemed that there was nothing in there apart from financial documents, reports, and other stuff meaningless to me. The strange logo was nowhere to be seen. I'd already grown desperate when in the last drawer I came across a thick folder filled with papers. I opened it and saw that same logo. Quickly took the camera out of my pocket and started feverishly taking shots. I didn't know how much film was there, and on instinct tried to be quicker, as if that could increase the amount of shots I had. Couldn't quite grasp the meaning of the documents, but there would be plenty of time to read them over later at home. If, of course, I managed to develop the film by myself. The camera started clicking futilely, indicating that I couldn't photograph anything else. There was still around half the folder left to go, but it was no longer my problem. Irina should have thought about that in advance. Satisfied with myself, I confidently went for the exit when the door suddenly opened. Two grim-looking men in black suits appeared in the doorway. Fuck. Yeah, I figured we'd get caught. Yeah, I shouldn't be too surprised. That's the thing. When I said complete the mission, I said go through with it. I didn't say we'd actually be finishing it. I figured they'd have eyes on him, right? Like, cause already June suspected him from the jump, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alright. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, we're out here, deserted in the deserted woods, about to get fucking put down. Fair enough. Well, I made my decision. We're gonna see it through to the end. What are you going to tell Ellie? Digging the grave left me completely exhausted. Oh, they made him dig his own grave. Fuck. I was breathing heavily, sweating, my heart beating like crazy, my tuxedo, trousers, and white shirt all covered in dirt. But it no longer mattered. It is commendable you're able to think of someone other than yourself at this moment, Nikolai. The security guards had led me to the yard through the back door, where Kobayashi Jun soon joined us. I was given a shovel and brought to the forest next to the estate. In that first second in the old man's office, I had a desperate thought to run, to jump out of the window, break the glass. That only works in American films, and it was more likely to kill than save me. You understand I had no choice, right? I wasn't as much trying to delay the inevitable as unable to keep digging. My hands were shaking and refused to grip the shovel. Irina Mostovaya. It was an affirmation more than anything. I've heard a lot about this woman. It seems she can be quite persuasive. However, Nikolai, you must also realize that after what you've seen, I cannot just let you go. I haven't seen anything, I pleaded. I had no time to read anything. I just finished taking photos when your goons appeared. Unfortunately, we have no way to confirm your words. And that's a good enough reason to kill me? Think for yourself. If you return to Mrs. Mostovaya without the photos, she clearly won't be happy. If she finds out that you were caught and your camera was taken, I think she'll be left with no choice either. As disgusting as it was to acknowledge it, he was right. And apparently I had no chance of making it out of this forest alive. The strangest thing was, I felt no primal fear or panic, just bitter disappointment with myself for not doing the right thing. You don't get angry at a tornado for destroying your house. You get angry at yourself for ignoring the evacuation order. Maybe for even building a house in that area. My parents. Were you the one who killed them? He ran his hand through his beard and gave it a moment's thought. Your parents were spies, Nikolai. They made their choice long before they reached Japanese soil. Spare me. What kind of spies could they have possibly been? Quite good ones, considering how many years they managed to work undercover and hide it even from their own son. I didn't know how to reply to that. Now when I only had several minutes left to live, why would he lie? Did everyone know except me? Kobayashi Jun knew, Irina knew, Ichinose knew. Oh! Okay, this one's kicking in. What's the name of this track? It's gotta be some Arctic lakes in your pure eyes. Okay, not what I expected. I remember Mom and Dad, but couldn't believe it was true. In my memory, they were very normal people. Engineers. God, I always believed my dad built bridges. Kobayashi-san, I don't believe you. I could believe what he was saying, but there was no proof of my parents' guilt. Many people suffered for nothing in the Cold War. Well, that is your right. Why did you allow the son of Russian spies to mingle with your granddaughter? Because I knew you had nothing to do with their activities. Oh, really? Thanks for believing in me. My laugh quickly turned to intense coughing. Dig already. One of the security guys snapped. Almost there. Another one smirked. No, Kobayashi-san. Ellie always defended you so fiercely. Said you weren't capable of murder. Elizabeth doesn't understand much about the world, even if she tries desperately to look mature. And it is exactly to protect her and ensure her future that I am sometimes forced to go to unpleasant lengths she's better off never knowing about. He said all this in a tone as if explaining the duties of a new maid. Have you ever thought about asking Ellie if she wants that future? You Russians just don't understand our way of life. I'd say 10 years in Japan are more than enough to understand. If you do, Nikolai, it's time to leave all your grudges behind and start your next cycle with kind and sincere intentions. I don't believe in the wheel of life or whatever you're talking about. Fine. I'll say it in the words of Epicurus, the Greek philosopher. As long as we exist, death is not here. And when it does come, we no longer exist. So, Nikolai-kun, you have nothing to be afraid of either way. I could feel the mockery in his words, even though his voice was calm. In a different situation, I would have been tired of all this pointless philosophizing. But here it was, keeping me alive, however briefly. What do I have to do for you to let me go? Sometimes I consider what lengths a man could go to survive. Treason, murder, even genocide. I can never answer the question of what I personally would be prepared to do if I found myself in such a situation. You've chosen your fate yourself, Nikolai. In a sense, his answer even brought me relief. We're talking about karma and reincarnation, and about choosing your fate. Don't you think those concepts don't quite mesh with each other? Nikolai, you're just delaying the inevitable. Yes, I fucking am. Threw the shovel into the pit and finally started crying. I'm only 18. My whole life was ahead of me. What have I done wrong? I swear I didn't read those documents. It no longer matters, Nikolai. But I'm a human being after all. My life means something. I'm not a stock you can buy or sell depending on its price. Who gave you the right to kill people so easily? Like they're lazy employees you can fire at any moment. Boss, I think it's deep enough already. One of the guards shouted with irritation. Kobayashi-san. Sama, please, I beg you. At least die like a man, he said with disgust. Last thing I heard was the clank of metal. Apparently someone had racked a gun. Yeah, okay. Alright. They proved me wrong. I said, hey, if I had to pick someone, I'd put my faith in Irina, and they said, oh, bet? That's fair. That's fair. Alright, run it back then. Let's run it back then. And they said, oh, are you sure about that? Alright, I guess I got no other choice. We gotta go to Kobayashi. No. In Japan, Kobayashi Jun had more power. I mean, true. And the risk was unbelievably high. Now so many strangers in his home, anything of value would be guarded even more closely than usual. I didn't know why Irina had sent me here, but staying in the middle of this motley crowd, I was absolutely sure that I wouldn't be able to complete the mission unnoticed. There was only the moral dilemma left. Did I have the right to trust the person guilty of my parents' death? Even if his guilt was unproven, the suspicion alone was enough. You wouldn't invite a guy who used to work as an accountant at Auschwitz for tea, even if the Nuremberg trials had found he had nothing to do with the mass murders. But at this point my life was on the line, and the options I had available to me were much more limited. If there were any other alternative. But I had no confidence in Irina's moral qualities either. Honestly, I had confidence in Irina. It's not even Irina that fucked us over there, it's just that, yeah, no, there was no way you were going to get away with that. I was trying to convince myself that I was jumping to conclusions, that I couldn't accuse Kobayashi Jun of crimes against humanity just because he was rich and powerful. Yes, you can. And who was I to judge? When your life's at stake, the list of things you find acceptable tends to expand. Still, all the excuses very much resembled the indulgence of a collaborationist. It took at least half an hour for Ellie to find time for me again. After those girls, she managed to talk to a whole lot of other people. Why the long face, Nick? Isn't that obvious? On the backdrop of everyone else? Of course it is. Indeed, there was an atmosphere of celebration all around me. I need to have a serious talk with you. Alright. She looked at me puzzled. Not here. We walked outside. A night's chill felt refreshing to me while Ellie shivered and wrapped her arms around herself. If I had a jacket, I'd share. Ha, the jacket, yeah. I forgot about it. Sorry, it's in my room. I'll be right back. I can wait. I'm not poor enough to have to wear the same clothes year-round. The remark about the jacket somewhat distracted me, and it took a considerable effort to get my thoughts back on the track that actually mattered. Ellie, I want you to listen to me very carefully, not to interrupt. Alright? She nodded seriously in response. So much has happened in my life in the past 2 weeks that it would take too long to explain it all, but I don't need to. It matters that I was contacted by Soviet spies. I don't know what they need from me, somehow related to my parents' work and your grandfather's company. And also our acquaintance. I raised my hand as a warning, but Ellie wasn't about to interrupt me. I understand what you might think, that I tried to befriend you because I had a hidden agenda, and anyway, none of it's true. Well, partially it was true. I did get myself invited to the ball for a reason. Look, I realize that this is serious and all, but what's your point? I sighed heavily and continued. In the end, that woman from the KGB asked me, rather ordered me, to sneak into your grandfather's office and take some photos of his documents. In sec. Took the mini camera out of my pocket and handed it to Ellie. The girl fidgeted with her hands and gave it back. I swear I have no idea what's in those documents. For some time, Ellie looked at me like I was a teacher explaining some incredibly complex material that was going to be on the final exam. But I've decided I can't do it. Because... I stumbled. To be honest, right now, I'm more afraid of your grandfather than the KGB. I understand. I waited for her to continue, but she just kept giving me this seemingly captivated stare. What do you understand? I understand that you're in a difficult situation, but Nick, KGB has some serious stuff. You need to go to the police. Will they help? I smirked sarcastically. But if not the police, who then? Your grandfather, I'm telling you. Sure, I can talk to Grandpa, but what? Fine, nothing. She suddenly smiled and lit up. Wait a moment, I'll be quick. She ran away, leaving me to freeze on the veranda. I didn't want to think her reaction was out of indifference. I was even less inclined to think she was a little stupid. But Ellie clearly didn't entirely comprehend the seriousness of the situation. Nah, I think you're underestimating our girl Ellie. She probably understood, in general terms, that I was in a difficult situation, but not the actual grave danger that came with it. Telling her about problems I had at school would probably have had the same reaction. That seemed weird. To what extent is a person who lives in luxury, who has never faced any serious obstacles in their life, able to sympathize with the common people? Maybe that's what I hadn't noticed in her face. Compassion. The automatic reaction of offering help isn't enough. Often there are situations where there's no help to be given other than sympathy and a kind word. While I was waiting for Ellie's return, 2 servants carried dead drunk Victor out of the house and passed me as he unintelligibly recited some poems. Natalia followed him and apologizing to everyone she met. In order not to attract unnecessary attention, I prudently hid behind a column. I had to thank Michael, or maybe my own common sense, for not going too hard on the champagne. I needed a clear head for the talk with Kobayashi Jun. I didn't know how much time had passed, but when Ellie finally appeared, accompanied by her grandfather, I'd almost frozen to death. The old man noticed that right away. Good evening, Nikolai. I think we'd better talk inside. I gladly followed him.